Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us, the British Fish! I am Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me, bobbing his head happily, joyously, it's NJ.
What's up?
Make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this TNA Impact Wrestling Go Home Show edition down in that comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the box below.
Could you have delayed any more than you did, NJ?
I could have.
Oh, come on. So, we've got Genesis coming up this Sunday, so this was the go-home show. I will say this before we go in. The pacing of the show, like last week, I thought was very good. I think Pritchard is getting this whole pacing right. Segments get time to play out, so I did think that added something to the show, and it added to our liking of the show as well, didn't it?
It did indeed. I really thought tonight was smooth.
Okay, who do you think you are? The YouTube's version of Bob Marley or something?
Oh, yes.
Next you'll be smoking the old reef. We open up the show with none other than Mr. Authority Figure himself, Sting. And he calls out Jeff Hardy, talks about Hardy overcoming his demons. And it seemed like to me that it pretty much was Sting trying to put over Jeff Hardy. And he says that he gives him his full backing, the backing of Sting. How much more? The only backing you could get anymore is Hulk Hogan's backing.
Well, Jeff Hardy being the top pitch, I think he's got enough backing as it is, because he's already there now. He's not been back that long, but
yeah.
There we go.
And then we get Rude, Billy Ray and Angle coming up together, which was interesting. They talk about, why is Sting endorsing Hardy? Why not endorse us? Talking about Sting picking his favourites. It's good heel stuff. They all got time to talk, didn't they? Because then we had Storm and Abyss coming out afterwards.
Yeah, it was good to hear them all speak, because obviously with the importance of their matches at Genesis, they all needed to have their opening mic time.
Yeah, and James Storm, again, good on the mic for the limited time he got in this segment. Talks up his match with Angle, talking about Angle being scared. He's one last call away from being knocked out. And then we get Abyss talking. It's just like, ooh, talking about Immortal taking advantage of him, that Immortal need him, and that he doesn't need Immortal anymore. He is his own man.
That's what I wanted to hear, because obviously if he's going to go off on his own singles career now, become a monster, as a face monster, he needs to start being away from Immortal.
And then Sting says, my God, I could do with something to do with Teddy Long here. And I see a 6-man main event coming up. Storm, Hardy and Abyss versus Bully Ray, Rude and Angle. But we expected it.
That match. I don't know where it went from.
Teddy Long style player. But it was good. It hyped up three matches at Genesis. We got a main event out of it. I would say it was a little bit clusterfucked. They each got their part in it, and what little they had to say, it still had effect. It was a little bit clusterfucked, but it was still effective, I thought.
Well, two things. Angle, well, he didn't really get much mic time because obviously he got passed around to everyone else. The other thing is the time for this opener, good.
Yeah. Short and to the point.
It was
well, for 6 people in it, I guess.
Yes, that's true.
We then get a nice little thing where they show all the matches for tonight, which is good because it gives us something to look forward to, and I know MJ especially like that.
I like that, but obviously maybe they could have done it last week and hyped us what we're getting this week, but the fact they've done it now, gave us what we're getting for the rest of the night, just something to look forward to. Keep doing that.
Do it every week, I'd say. We then get a backstage segment with Gail Kim, Madison Rayne, Tracy Brooks, and Mickie James fighting in the pool in bikinis.
Just what the show needed.
The British Fist Tea Time guys would have been thriving at this segment, wouldn't they? Then that leads us on to a tag match. Tracy Brooks and Mickie James versus Madison Rayne and Gail Kim for the Knockouts tag titles. Bit of a random title shot, I guess, wasn't it?
So to hype up a knockout, tag match, they should have that pool segment every time.
Definitely.
Yes.
We love that pool segment here at the British Fist. We love ourselves a bit of girl-on-girl action. This match goes on 6 minutes. You've got a good amount of time. Gail Kim pins Tracy Brooks, which to me is the right move. You've got Mickie there. You're making your champ look strong while not making Mickie look too weak. So in my opinion, this is a good segment to hype up the Mickie James Gail Kim match.
I'm glad they hyped up, obviously making Gail Kim look strong as the match went on. Maybe not at first, but as the match went on, Gail Kim looked strong. Yeah. Just made her look good, ready for the pay-per-view. The only thing I was disappointed about is after the match, why did they not go into the swimming pool after the match? You know.
Why not have a pool at ringside? I don't know. The only problem I have with this segment is the fact that they kind of made Gail Kim look a bit like a chump to Tracy Brooks.
That's what I was thinking.
But Gail Kim got the pin, so that kind of wiped that one out. Okay, TNA. You've got a go-home show. Now, we like this go-home show, but there's a couple of issues we have with this. Why are they featuring Eric Young in multiple segments on a go-home show in his love triangle with ODB? It has nothing to do with it. And also, why did they have to feature Garrett Bischoff on a go-home show? Could this not have been saved till next week? I don't know why they're featuring all this stuff on a go-home show.
The Eric Young, again, it could have led to a possible match, but it didn't, so I was thinking that was just pointless. Garrett Bischoff, he's back, is he?
Member of the roster now, apparently.
And there's the fact he's a roster.
Take off the referee's shirt. It's time for you to lace up your boots and be a wrestler, NJ. No more YouTubing. You're a wrestler now.
I would like that, but the thing is, now he's a wrestler, I'm having a bad feeling they're going to have him maybe.
Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it, do we? No, exactly. But that led us into... We got a nice video package with the tag team, the final of the tag team wildcard tournament. Made it seem like a bit of a bigger deal. Then we had interviews with Samoa Joe and Magnus, Kaz and AJ backstage segments talking about being a team and team chemistry. I like this little segment of the show. It hyped up to that tag match, gave them all time to speak on the mic. And the video package showed them how they got there, and I thought it was a good segment to hype up for that tag match.
Well, it's shown a lot of importance to their tag titles, which is good, because after a big tournament like this, it was the final of it now, so they had to hype up pretty well, and I think the video package did a good job.
It made it seem like a bigger deal, didn't it?
That's very true.
Gunner and RVD was next. At the time, we didn't know this would be pay-per-view related, so we were a bit like, huh? Why is this featured on the show? We had a backstage segment with Flair talking up Gunner, and then Sting saying that Flair, you're not going to be a ringside player. And that led us, and that was only one. Then we had the match between the two, which went about 6.5 minutes.
And Ric Flair told him to do one thing: put him in the ambulance. Woo! Yeah, taking the ambulance. So hopefully, let's see if Gunner can put Robert Dunn in the ambulance.
Nah, that ain't ever going to happen, brother. Robert Dunn ain't putting over Gunner. No, it was a good match, though. We got 6.5 minutes. I know it ended in a DQ, but we're going to be seeing this at the pay-per-view, as we found out later on in the night, so I'm glad it didn't end clean. Gunner goes to power drive RVD. RVD fights out, and then Gunner goes to power drive him again, and then the backstage staff come out and stop it. Like, no, D'Lo Brown and Al Snow, no, I'm stopping this. I'm stopping this. This is the same for the pay-per-view, brother.
It was interesting, good to see. And the thing that's got me thinking now is that it was a last throw-in match, but again, it could do good Gunner's character.
Yeah. It's just a shame that they haven't hyped this up a bit sooner and thrown it in the last minute, but I guess I don't mind seeing it as long as Gunner goes over, especially after the character development. I hope RVD puts him over. Preview video on Saturday, by the way. Next, we had X Division Tag Team action. Zema Iron and Jesse Sorensen versus Cash and Austin Aries. After that best of 3 series match we had, it was nice to at least see Sorensen, Cash and Austin Aries featured on TV, although they should have really been featured on TV a little bit more, I think.
The thing that made me laugh up this is that Kid Cash and Aries are friends.
They're not, though.
Well, they repair.
They're a tag team, but there was tension between the two.
I like that. The fact there was tension in it, it was good to see, because obviously you wanted them to show that they're going to be opponents at the pay-per-view.
4-way match, isn't it? So it's essentially 3 heels against Jesse Sorensen, pretty much. But both teams had tension, which was good. There was a few botches in this match, but it got 7 minutes. The botches were mainly by Zema Iron and Jesse Sorensen. And Sorensen pins Austin Aries after that blind tag. I would complain about the champion getting pinned, but it was a blind tag and it was from behind, so I guess I'm 7 minutes of X Division action. I was pretty happy with that.
It's made the opponents look strong going into the pay-per-view, because obviously I'm saying that it's going to lead up to probably Austin Aries coming out strong. But again, I had no problem with this match. I do
love a bit of X Division action, and they gave us 7 minutes of it, so I can't really complain. Especially after that best of 3 series match, I was quite happy to see the people from the pay-per-view actually on the go-home show. I just wish they'd been on TV a little bit more, but that's just a small nitpick on what was a good show.
Yes.
Next, we had the final of the Wildcard Tag Team Tournament. I don't know about you, but I was really looking forward to this match. AJ and Kaz and Samoa Joe and Magnus going against each other in a tag team match.
Well, with these 4 wrestlers, I guess, in my opinion, 3 of them are actually built up to be wrestlers that you can stand and behind. Magnus, again, it's good that he's actually been put in an important match, so I was looking forward to this match, yes.
Magnus deserves to be in the main event because he's British. This match, it got about 6 minutes. I thought it could have got a little bit more time. To be honest with you, though, the segment kind of got a little bit bittersweet when, when Daniels came out. We had that whole segment backstage when Daniels had been talking to Kaz. We had Daniels coming out, Kaz walking out, and then AJ getting pinned by Samoa Joe. It kind of annoyed me a little bit that they were focusing a lot on that, which isn't really involved with the pay-per-view, whereas the tag titles is. Do you know what I mean? But the match itself was pretty good. I like the way they worked it, and I'm looking forward to seeing Samoa Joe and Magnus at the pay-per-view now.
Well, the whole turning on AJ is definitely just wondering what's going to happen next with this. But the way it was done, I think the way that they got the win, I liked it, because obviously we've got new number contenders to face the tag champs. So the whole match did numerous things. I liked it.
So this was the culmination of that tournament. Do you think it did its job of making, giving us some credible number 1 contenders?
I'd say yes, it did its job with all of them.
Yeah, I thought it did too. The one thing I do question is this really the right time to do that turn? Especially just before the pay-per-view, when you've got, you want all the focus to be on that tag team title match, and then you've got Daniels and Kaz and AJ kind of making it seem a bit secondary. That's one issue I maybe had with that segment.
Well, with the turn actually did help the match to finish, so I'm quite happy with it.
We then had a backstage segment between Samoa Joe, Magnus, and Morgan and Crimson when they go. And I like this because it adds another dimension to the segment. You've just had the number one contenders, now they're fake, and it gets Morgan and Crimson on TV.
That's what we
needed. This was a good segment to end the match. It kind of made it, again, we've had video packages hyping this up, the match itself, a clean finish, and then a backstage segment between the number one contenders and the tag champs going into the pay-per-view. It's good stuff, isn't it? The way they did the segment.
Well, I think if they just went straight onto the main event, I think they would have really missed out the opportunity to actually have Matt Morgan and Crimson appearing and having their bit before the pay-per-view. Because they got on mic first, they had the brawl. I thought it was nicely done.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I thought it was very well done, this segment. And then we get to Mike Tenay and Taz running down the card for Genesis. We find out there's going to be 8 matches. Gunner versus RVD was thrown in there as well. So it was important, I think, especially for a big pay-per-view, it's important that they run down the card, tell everyone what they're going to be seeing.
And it was in the right place, because obviously we've had the rest of the show building up the pay-per-view. We knew what the main event was, so we didn't really need to have it after the main event. Right before the main event, giving us what the pay-per-view is, I thought it was nicely done there as well.
Yeah, it's one of those simple things that helps hype the pay-per-view, really, isn't it? Running down the whole card, talking about each of the matches. Despite it was quick, it led us on to our main event, which was Bully Ray, Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode versus James Storm, Jeff Hardy, and Abyss. And after these interviews, we had interviews with all 6 of them. You know, Storm, Hardy, and Abyss, Roode, Angle, and Bully Ray hyping up the main event. They each had their bit to say. I like that about the interview segments during the show. Hyped up the main event well.
They hyped up the main event and also got some of them mentioning about Genesis. So I think with the opener and now this, they're really concentrating on their pay-per-view match.
We even had Bully Ray mentioning the house shows as well.
Oh, I bet.
He's facing RVD on the house show tomorrow night. So we had all the faces coming up to Hardy's music, and we had all the heels coming out to Roode's music.
Quickly.
I wasn't too sure about that. I thought they should have got their individual entrances, but they were buying the time, I guess. And the match itself was pretty decent. We got all the we got 3 feuds going on here. It was a little bit clusterfucked, but still effective, I thought.
Well, the way they all did it, they had all the wrestlers having their bit of time against each other, looking strong, a bit of time over each other, so you could see them building up their opponents and building up their hype towards the match. So I really enjoyed this main event.
I thought it could have gone on a bit longer than 8 minutes, but at the same time, it ended in a no contest, which was good because no one has to do a job. And then we get the whole sequence at the end of the match where the referee just says, nah, you all 6 in the ring, I'm just ringing the bell, fuck this shit, I'm getting out of here. And then all 6 guys are creating havoc in the ring, and then they concentrate nicely on the Hardy and Roode feud, and they sort of do this alternatively with the 3 feuds in the ring as well, and we have the heels coming out on top to end the show, which is good.
Well, even though we did not get a clean winner, which is okay because it's right before the pay-per-view, we did get the heels looking strong, because obviously that does add suspense to the match, because obviously we have the Bobby Roode who's the champ, we have Angle, and we have Bully Ray. So we have this champ looking strong and the opponents. I really enjoyed how this ended. Yes, it went on for a bit long, but it definitely added more than just a match.
And what it does is it makes the crowd get behind the babyface. Because you give the heels that heel heat, and it makes the pay-per-view. It makes you want the baby faces to win, and that's what draws money in the business. So they did it pretty well to me. And you know what, NJ? Usually our TNA reviews go on for longer than 15 minutes, but this one hasn't, because the segments all got good amount of time. The show flowed pretty well, and it was all mostly pay-per-view related, apart from a little bit of filler.
We would normally have a lot to say, because obviously it's the go-home show, but to be honest, the way they've done this show, thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, they only had 1 promo, that was the opener. The rest of it was wrestling, and I really liked that element, the fact that they've got loads of wrestling on this show. That was really a really nice change for TNA. The only problem I have with this show is the fact they didn't hype up Devon and Pope on the go-home show, which was a little bit disappointing, really, because this is one of the feuds that may have needed it.
The thing is, they decided to hype up Eric Young instead of Pope and Devon, and I really thought, what's the logic in that? What's that going to lead to? Yes, you had this whole stupid Eric Young and OB kissing thing.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, really good.
But
Pope and Devon, they had the whole advantage of having a pay-per-view match, so they could have replaced Eric Young, but TNA didn't think of that, but there you go.
It was one bad thing on a pretty good show, in my opinion. So I won't dwell on that too much. The show itself, we both agree on this, was a very good show. We thought the fact there was loads of matches was good. Each segment helped hype the pay-per-view. Each segment got plenty of time to be effective. The show flowed quite well. So I've got to give my hats off to TNA here. The show, I really enjoyed it this week. Good pay-per-view hype. Everything was relevant. That's what a go-home show should be.
Yes, the thing I liked about it is also they gave the main events time on mic, the matches that they wanted to concentrate on. It was all nicely done. I can't really fault this TNA show.
No, it was a good show, I thought. If you were going to grade it, how would you grade it?
Probably a strong B+.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give A's to shows very often, and I don't think I'll give this one an A, as they didn't focus on Pope and Devon. But I'll give this a very, very, very strong B+, and a very good go show, and a very good show for TNA. It was entertaining with all the matches, and it did its job for the pay-per-view. So I have really no complaints about this show at all, really.
And all I can say is that they should continue doing shows like this. I know they've made this one special because it's before one of their biggest pay-per-views, but still, if they do more shows that flow nice like this, the ratings could happen, people be more interested in your show.
And all I can say is, Pritchard, you're doing a good job. Thank you for replacing Vince Russo, who would just throw storylines at us. You're giving us a very well-flowed show, and I do enjoy the shows you're giving us. So props to Pritchard there. It may have started off a little bit rocky, but now the shows are really starting to come into their own, I think.
I think the same. He's doing a good job. It's getting me more interested in TNA than I did when I first started.
Yeah, with Vince Russo just throwing shit at you all the time. I can understand why that was a bit annoying. That has been our thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling. Get your thoughts on this show, because we want to hear your thoughts. This is essentially a video forum, which we're doing here. Getting them in that comment section down below. Now it's time for our main event. This is how we end our shows. It's NJ time.
Thank you very much, Dan, and guys, hope you've enjoyed this Go Home show. It's been a good show for all the British peers, Mr. Parkin, and me, NJ. Till next time, people, tune in for our prediction on Saturday.
Yes.
And that has been it from the British Fish. Goodbye.